Hi, Ann Cornick from Paint and Porcelain Exchange. I'm here to teach beginners how to get started in China painting, and also for those of you that have been painting a while to hopefully inspire you, get you interested in painting more along with us, and also to tap you for some of your knowledge. For those of you that have been in Indiana, you know we had a wonderful time and we all learned an awful lot, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. I want to also thank Nancy Bergman. Her class is fabulous, first of all. I'm not going to teach you anything close to all the stuff that she would. She is fabulous. So if you get a chance to take her class, please do. I think you will be more than thrilled with everything that she teaches you. I'm going to give you my best notes and show you a few things. It's going to take, we're not going to do it all in one day. It's going to take a couple of days to go through everything because she was... I was a week with her, so there's a lot. And she was more than willing to share stuff. She changed my whole outlook. I thought Lustre was just for doing fancy edges and making your boxes pretty, around the outside. But she actually paints with Lustre. She does animals. She does flowers. She does scenes. She does amazing things with Lustres. And she showed us just a little bit so that we could get started on our hummingbirds. Now, I'm going to give you the basics, as many as I can today. You have to know what you're doing, and this is the way she did it with us. She gave us the basics first, and then we started painting so that we didn't make mistakes or repeat mistakes that we have been doing. So the first thing I thought was brilliant. This is brilliant. Now, I know most of you probably have these old bottles like this with the little cork on top. Okay, well, then you can't do that for this. But she suggested, and I did it, and it's fabulous. Let me show you a couple here. I want to get a couple colors. The open bottles, the big wide mouth bottles, are the best. And she said, go get these little tiles. They're jewelry tiles. Everybody has them somewhere because they don't want to paint the little jewelry, okay? And I have a ton of these, so I painted them. This one's the yellow. This one's the turquoise. She said, paint them, fire them, and put them on the tops of your bottles. The color is still on these bottles. These are her bottles. And that way, you almost have a color palette. So if you want to paint, here, let me just show you. If I hold them up right, get them together, see? You have like a color palette. The other thing she told us, and you'll see even with these little tiles, is that when you fire your Lustre, you should always wipe it off with a damp paper towel. Now, I kind of thought that was hooey. I did it because she said that if you have a drip on your piece and the drip fires, it'll turn into like a soot, and you need to get that soot off, so I did it there. But look, see the dirt on there? I got that off of just these little bottle top things. I just wiped them all down when I got them out. Isn't that amazing? Now, how did I do that? I glued them. I glued them using Elmer's glue to a tile, okay? And then I just painted them. And I'm going to let the Lustre dry before I fire it. It's my preference. I find I have fewer fumes that way. But then, last night when I was doing all these bottles, I took a picture of the tiles that I had put the color on, because when you fire them in the kiln, the glue releases. So you have to take it out like this. And then I set it down and I compared it to this so that I put the right color Lustre piece on top of the right bottle. Okay, so that's just a hint, so that you don't mix them up. Because I'll tell you, look at here. All right, this is blue-green, and this is turquoise. I don't see that much difference, but I knew which one to put on which bottle, so that was good. Okay, so let's start with some facts. The first thing is, and these are all my notes, and I've got 3 pages of notes, so it's a lot of notes, and they're typewritten. Anything older than 1 year is considered old Lustre. Okay, it's not just these guys. It's like even the newer stuff, older than a year, it's considered old Lustre. The ones that start getting gunky the fastest are the pinks, the reds, and the purples, because they're the thickest. They have the shortest shelf life, and they dry out quickest. Now, you say, well, like this is my opal. Oh, it doesn't move. Well, let's say you have one that it doesn't. You can move it, and it's perfect, and you go, I can use this luster. You can. But keep in mind that it's older luster. Okay. Now, Nancy says, and I agree with her, that the large mouth bottles are the best. The reason for that is that you can dip your brush in and paint, and you don't waste anything. You can wipe your brush on the side of the bottle and put the, luster back in, and you don't waste anything. If you use your older luster with the smaller bottle tops like this, you have to pour it out. And when you pour it out, you never get it all back in. So you are wasting luster. So that's her theory behind why the wide mouth are the best. Keep lusters in the fridge, especially the new lusters. They will last longer. It will increase their shelf life. Not much, but some. Nancy has, I think, a huge selection. She has, well, while we're talking about that, okay, she has a chart that she can probably send you. If not, I could probably post this one, although I have this thing about not promoting on my site, but this happens to go along with the lessons, so maybe that's okay. And she did it a couple of ways. You can ask her for this chart too. It's the light, she puts them in groups by family, and then she has the lighter ones, you can see they're light, and the medium and the dark. Then over here in this column, she has which ones are German and which ones are US. And her prices range anywhere from $11 to $48, depending on what you get. Black is the most expensive, and the red is very expensive. But the others, I'd figure $20 for them. But the American are the thinnest. They last the longest. The German are the thickest, and they're going to be discontinued soon. So if you like those colors, you want to use them. The American do not have any uranium or lead in them. You can eat off of them. I personally don't keep my old ones in the fridge. I tried, but my older ones, when I take them out of the fridge, I actually feel like it encouraged them to age. So I stopped doing that, but the new ones I will keep in the fridge. You have to work fast with luster. You have to work fast. 2 minutes, that's it. You put it on, you do what you're going to do, and you're done. And if we have time, I will show you on one ornament, a real quick way of painting a simple ornament, but you only have 2 minutes. So if you go back in and try to do things after that, it becomes tacky. So if you've never used luster, it becomes tacky. Then it becomes solid, and you can't always shape it or move it. And if you're pouncing to blend it, if you don't get the drips and the lines that you don't want cleared up in that period of time, you're out of luck. Like if you have a spot where it's flaked off and you're really upset, fill it with a lighter color. Don't fill it with a darker color. So like, let's say I did it with this blue-green. I think this is blue-green. Yeah, blue-green. Okay. And it flaked off right in the middle. I would fill it with like a lighter blue or something and make it look like that's just another shade of this color, rather than trying to take this color and fill it in. Because if I fill it in with this color, it's going to look like a patch. And if you apply pearlized, like mother of pearl, I have this beautiful, this is gorgeous. It's called Blue Pearl. Of course, there, can you see better? I'm a blue person. Always apply them in a circular motion, and you'll get a lot more light from them. So that's important to know. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the do's and don'ts. And I know this is a lot up front, but the thing is, if you do any of these things, like the first one, which is a big no-no, and never do it, never do it, never do it, okay? Never clean your piece with alcohol. I did in the past, Never could figure out why my luster had all these little like white spots all over it and never really went on real smooth. Well, that's why. Never clean with alcohol. What do you clean with? You clean with Dawn dish soap and water. I did it. This ornament that I have here had all kinds of gook on it. And it came out beautiful. Never mix these colors. Write them down, please. And this is important. Never mix pink and mother of pearl. You'll get gray. Never mix red and mother of pearl. You'll get gray. Never mix purple and mother of pearl. You'll get gray. How do I know? This one is mother of pearl. I had put it on first, and then I put the colors over the top. You see this up here that's gray? It should have been pink. Never mix mother of pearl and gold. Don't let them touch. Don't let the silver and mother of pearl touch. There's a kind of luster that's called running luster. When you see running on the label, and you might see it, you know, when you're going through her list. And by the way, I'll put it at the end. It's Bergman, Bergman Lusters at gmail.com on here if you're trying to reach her by email. And she also has a website. I think it's bergmanlusters.com. It'll say running. It means that when you paint it on, it will make all these long legs. You can't control it. It's just going to keep running down the side of whatever you're painting it on. Now, it's a beautiful effect. As it runs, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner. It's important that you know that, so that if you buy a running lilac and you want to put it on something as lilac, it ain't going to stay where it's supposed to. Okay, the other thing is you cannot mix running lilac with pink. You cannot mix running lilac with red luster. So just so you know, those are all going to cause problems and you're not going to like the outcome. Never clean your brush with luster essence until you're done with using it for luster for the day. Okay, pretty much. Never, never, never. This is another real important one, like using alcohol on your piece. Never paint luster over China paint. It won't work. You can put luster down and paint China paint over it, but you can't put China paint down and put luster over it. If you're going to put luster on bisque, the darker lusters tend to turn very dark or black. So apply them sparingly. Okay, that's enough of the don'ts. Here are the do's. And I have always used Awesome to clean my brushes. Nancy uses Terpenoid Natural. Now, I found out the hard way because I contaminated my lusters. Don't just pick up a Terpenoid Natural bottle on your desk that you've been using for your regular China paint because it has oil in it. Don't use that. I thought I was okay. Oh, I got it. Here it is. So I started painting with it and all of my luster turned gray. Why did it turn gray? Because I had oil in it. You need to find a fresh bottle, nice wide mouth, fill it with fresh Terpenoid Natural, only use it for lusters, okay? That's really important. You will have a terrible time if you don't. And you use that kind of to clean your brush when you need to clean your brush. If you're going to use Resist, I'm going to tell you this now, but I'll tell you again later. I just want to make sure you've heard it a million times. This one is critical. If you've already painted luster on a piece, and let me get another piece here, this one. This is my little, I'm working on him, okay? If you've already painted luster, and now I want to put Resist over him to paint the background, you have to wipe the whole piece, everything, with turpentine before you put the Resist on. So just assume every time you take your piece out of the kiln, you do the water over it, the wet damp rag over it, and then if you're going to use Resist, you have to put turpentine down. What happens? It won't release. It won't release. And it's turpentine. turpentine. You cannot use mineral spirits. You cannot use terpenoid. You have to use turpentine. And the terpenoid, by the way, that we use to clean our brushes with is this one. There's two of them. This is the green one, terpenoid natural. That's what was in this little jar, just so you know, okay? That's important. Firing. Fire all lusters at 017. That's what she told me. I was thrilled because that's what my kiln fires at. She recommends that if you're new to this and you've never done lusters before, that you don't try to start a huge piece right away, that you start something simple and you practice before you actually put it on the piece. Because I know myself, the hummingbird that I put on that vase first is a far cry from the one I ended up with last. So you improve as you practice. So practice, practice, practice. Now let's talk about the setup, okay? This was all new to me. The first thing I have here is a paper bag. That's to protect the table. She recommended brown paper. You know, if you get Amazon orders, you get brown paper in the Amazon orders all the time. She said, just put it down flat, and then she said, get tissue paper. Now, this is the kind of tissue paper that's shiny. This side isn't, but this side is shiny. White tissue paper. Fold it in half. See how I folded it down here at the bottom? Like this. And set it down. Give yourself a margin so you have a place to work and you have a place to wipe. Now, I'm just going to show you what she had us do. The folded side towards you keeps you from picking everything up when you're ready to paint. Now, when you use your paint, you dip in your paint, the way you clean your brush is just by wiping it back and forth on here until you don't see any color. That's how you clean your brush. All right, so that sounds a little odd, I know, but it works, okay? So now let's talk about brushes. Never paint lusters using a brush that you've used for china painting. If it has oil in it, I've already told you, I had this experience with the Terpenoid Natural. It had oil in it. It will turn your lusters gray and you'll be heartbroken. So never paint with a brush you've used for china painting. When you clean your brush, while you're using your lusters, you'll use Terpenoid Natural, but that's few and far between. Most of the time, you won't need to clean your brush. You'll be able to wipe it clean, okay? Now, you do need separate brushes. Now, it's not for everything, though. What she recommends is this. You need one for yellow, one for mother of pearl, and one for pink, which is the light pink, not the dark pink, which is the one that she recommends you get unless you really need the light pink for something. So I have brushes. They have never, ever, ever, ever touched china painting. And before you get started with these brushes, you want to dip them in the Terpenoid Natural and get the sizing out of them if they're brand new. I put a little sticker on here. Here's my yellow. Here's my mother of pearl. And then I have a baby yellow, so I put one on it. I don't have any pink, so I don't have a pink brush. If you are a watercolorist, do not use a watercolor brush. And it's the kind, you know, they kind of look like this. This is not a watercolor brush, but they kind of look like this on the end, you know. Okay, do not use your watercolor brushes just because they haven't been dipped in china paint and you have one handy, because they will soak up. They're meant to soak up your paint. When you do watercolor, they're meant to soak up the water. They'll soak up your lusters and they'll be gone. So don't use a watercolor brush. Now, all the other lusters, you can use the same brush. Oh. Okay. All of you that have a million brushes, get rid of them. You only need one for all the others. You need one for mother of pearl, one for yellow, one for pink. Okay. So I've marked them all, and I have a bevy of brushes. And the reason I have a bevy of brushes is you need them all different sizes because we're going to be painting things just like you would paint in China painting. We'll need small brushes, big brushes, angled brushes, you know, anything. This brush was very, very useful. She used it a lot. I found that most of the time if I use the side of my square shader, I could get a better outcome because I'm just more used to a square shader, but that's just me. These, I got like a big assortment of brushes. They came in a package. They were synthetic, and I just used those, and I decided as I used them, I found what worked. I found, for instance, for the hummingbirds here, this little guy, let me show you him. Okay, so for this little hummingbird, I wanted his head to be yellow. I had a real hard time with the head and getting this little beak thing to be thin, so I grabbed a thin brush that I had. So you just want to go to the store. You can go to Michael's, you can go to Home Depot. You don't have to go anywhere fancy. Always synthetic. But you want to make sure that you have a brush to do what you need it to do. So like she told me to use that, like, you know, this is what she was having us use all the time. I couldn't use this brush. I did, I tried. I felt clumsy with it compared to my square shader. But then I got this littler one, smaller one, and it worked fine. Now, how do you thin an old luster if you're going to use it? Let me just tell you that. You can pour out the luster into a little dish and add a little bit of luster essence. Now, I got this from Maryland, China. This is expensive. This is what you used ultimately to clean your brush, maybe before you're putting it away. You can use a little bit of luster essence on a Q-tip. A little bit of Terpenoid Natural on a Q-tip to shape things, like if the belly of your bird is too fat, you can shape it with that. The luster essence that I'm using here is Maryland, China. See, marylandchina.com. It works fine. It's stinky. I will tell you, her lusters are not smelling at all. We didn't even wear masks because it wasn't bad. But if you're using something that bothers you, then wear a mask. She also sells luster essence. I asked her about the Maryland. She said Maryland was fine, that they use kind of the same formula that she does, and she finds it works fine. As far as Awesome, now this was funny. I took Awesome with me, and I asked her about it, and she said she'd never heard of it. So I gave her a bottle of Awesome to try, so we'll see how that goes. Okay. I think I've overwhelmed you enough. Let me show you how to do the ornaments that I showed you. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this ornament. It is so simple. And look at the beautiful result. Okay, but you have to move fast. How many minutes? 2 minutes. I put my ornament on one of these. Oh, and you can do luster on bisque. I should just show you, if you didn't see the post. This is one that I dipped with her. Okay. I personally don't care for it very much, but it's growing on me. This is one where I thought I'd just paint on the luster. I hate this. But at least it shows you the luster will not be shiny. It will be dull. Okay? It's important to know that. So if you paint on bisque with luster, and you pour it or you dip it or however you do it, you're going to want to embellish it somehow. And in the near future, she showed us how to use the little funnel pens. I will show you that. It's fabulous, fabulous. But you should probably have something to put it on. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can use kiln furniture. Like if you have something like this, you can use this too to put your ornament on. Okay. All right. You see the paper towel. You see the tissue paper. I'm going to choose a square shader. I'm just going to do it in 2 colors. Make it real simple. I already have an orange and a yellow purple, yellow turquoise. I want to start with a light color and then go to a darker color. My light green is acting up, so I'm kind of waiting to see how that goes. So my lightest colors are either the light blue or the yellow. I'm going to use the yellow. And I'm going to use, I've got a lot of blue here. Let's do one with purple, yellow and purple, okay? We'll see what it looks like. This is what you do. You take the cap off and you put it behind your lustre, just like this. This is how you prepare. And the reason you do this is so you don't confuse them. Oops. Got lustre all over me. If you get lustre on you, she swears up and down by using hand sanitizer to clean it. I guess when it's wet, yeah, when it's wet, it's fine. So I keep a little hand sanitizer right here so that I can just wipe my hands real quick if I get lustre on it. Now, we're going to start with this. Now, because we're going to put it on the stick eventually like this, okay, I'm going to start by holding the bottom. We're going to paint the top first, then put it on here, paint the bottom, and then add these little smiles, and that's going to do it. I mean, that's all there is to it. Let me move these back a little, because you know what I'm doing. Oh, I don't want to move them out of screen, so I guess I'll leave them there. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm going to go into the yellow, and I'm just going to paint. Dip, paint, paint. Dip, paint, paint. You need it to stay liquid. Dip, paint, paint. I'm sorry, am I out of frame? There we go. Oh, yeah, this way, huh? Dip, paint, paint. Okay, I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to hold it by the bottom, and I'm going to paint the top the same way. Dip. You use a lot of lustre. Don't let anybody tell you you don't, especially for this technique. I'm sorry. I'm trying to hold it in screen. Dip, paint, paint. You want to get it over everything, and it's kind of hard because, like, for me, I have to hold it at the bottom, and it doesn't really want to cooperate with me. There we go. Dip, paint, paint. Okay, got that done. Now remember, you only have 2 minutes. So now I'm going to clean my brush, and this is how I clean it. I wipe it and wipe it until you can't see anything on there. See? Pretty good, okay? Then I'm going to dip it in this, the purple, and I'm just going to make little smiley faces. Oh, come here. Yep. 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 Come on. Let's get some on this side. Yep. Yep. I'm very shaky. There we go. That's it. That's it. Maybe one more there. Okay. Remember, the purple's going to take over. It's the darker color. Clean my brush. Let me move this out of the way. You see, I've cleaned my brush. That's it. I'm going to put the caps back on. Okay. That's how much I clean my brush. Now, if I want to, I can dip it in my Luster's Only Turpenoid Natural, pounce it against the sides a little, and then just clean it again to make sure I've gotten all the color out. That's it. Fabulous. Fabulous. Is it not fabulous? Okay, this is how it turned out. Now, unfortunately, this ball tends to be uneven. See how it goes? That's how it's going. And that's the way it will fire. Okay, I'm just going to let it run. I'm going to let it dry. Just going to set it down on the tissue paper and let it dry. And when it's done, It's yellow and purple, so it should look something more like this one. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? And I love on this one how the white came out. I didn't put any white on it, by the way. How long will it dry? 5-10 minutes. This is light green and turquoise, I believe. Light green and turquoise. This one is blue pearl. That's the real light pearl you see there. And midnight. Alrighty then. Pick up those brushes. Keep painting. See you next time. Bye-bye.